Okay, so I was watching Aliens, and the scene that struck me was the death of the android Bishop, played by Lance Hendrickson. Now, before talking about that scene, there's some things to explain. If you haven't seen this movie, it's a direct follow-up to Ridley Scott's Alien, which had been released 7 years prior. In that film, a group of interstellar cargo ship operators have a run-in with a previously unidentified alien lifeform, which stalks and kills the crew one by one. Now, that original film was a technical masterpiece with innovative set design and stylish lighting and impressive special effects, but it also pushed the boundaries in storytelling by giving the horror genre a strong female protagonist. Halloween had done this with Jamie Lee Curtis the year before, but Alien always struck me as impressive in how it almost ignored gender entirely. To my knowledge, the script was originally written with a man as the lead, and only slight changes were made to account for the casting of Sigourney Weaver, so that makes sense. Toward the end of the film, we get a scene in which the character Ripley removes her clothing, but compared to the gratuitous nudity in newer horror films, it is done in Alien to create a sense of vulnerability just before the final confrontation with the creature. It is also shot in a relatively unflattering style, showing her perform mundane mechanical operations with no attempt at being sexy or graceful for the audience. By making the lead in the film a woman, Ridley Scott created a picture in which men are shown as helpless against the predatorial nature of the alien, and the bravery and strength of a woman allows her to make it out alive. That being said, I don't think Alien is a feminist film. Ripley is a wonderful hero, but the other female character in the movie is shown as being just as terrified and ultimately as useless as the men when it comes to surviving the ordeal. I feel that the original Alien, while not a feminist picture, is a gender bias one, and that is something I can truly support. Instead of insisting that Weaver's character is capable, it simply shows us that fact. Now, the sequel, Aliens, was directed by James Cameron, an extremely able filmmaker when it comes to sequels, as demonstrated by his fantastic Terminator 2. He clearly has a gift for understanding how to build on what was done in previous stories, and Aliens is perhaps the greatest example of that. As I've said, I don't believe that the original Alien necessarily tried to use the concept of a female hero to drive its story. Quite the opposite, in fact. In many ways, it ignored the gender of its protagonist, but Cameron decided to use that trait to give the character more depth and to enhance the underlying themes of his film. Early in the picture, it is revealed to Ripley that she has been asleep for 57 years and that her daughter, who was just a child when she left, has already died. This concept of motherhood is utilized later after the rescue team, of which Ripley is a part, discovers a lone survivor, a young girl who appears to be about the age that Ripley's daughter was when she left Earth before the events of the first movie. Cameron's lack of subtlety ignored, it's a nice parallel that fully establishes Ripley as a woman in the role of caregiver to this child. Her desire to protect the girl is explicitly stated at the climax of the film with the now classic line,
"Get away from her, you bitch!"
Not content with the introduction of this mother element, Cameron heightens the ideas only implied by the first movie by making the women tougher
Have you ever been mistaken for a man?
and the men weaker,
Now what the fuck are we supposed to do?
as well as giving the aliens a matriarchal leader, a queen. With these added elements, the action finale of the film, in which Ripley fights the queen alien, has the added motif of two queens of their respective civilizations, the most powerful members of their society, colliding in a duel of massive thematic weight. It's truly brilliant storytelling. While all of this gets analyzed by film theorists and critics alike, I find one scene to be overlooked in these discussions, and that is the scene I stated earlier, in which the character of Bishop, the android, is killed by the queen alien. It takes place near the end of the movie after the audience is led to believe that Ripley has escaped the creatures, along with the young girl previously mentioned, the near-dead Corporal Dwayne Hicks, and Bishop. In a horrific surprise, a spike emerges from Bishop's chest as he screams in pain. He's lifted off the ground, and his body is ripped in half, spilling out his internal mechanical fluids by what is revealed to be the Queen alien, which has snuck on board the ship. Now, it's a fantastic moment in the film, and a truly terrifying one, but it seems to me to be a climax not only to the horror, but also to the film's themes themselves. As I've discussed, Cameron clearly made a film with strong gender-based ideas, emasculating men and strengthening women throughout. It is a film in which one queen is saying to another one, "I am in charge here, and my children will kill yours." Now, this final action sequence begins with the last untouched male figure in the film being penetrated from behind by an aggressive matriarch and then exploding in a milky white liquid while the queen screams in victory behind him. Essentially, I believe that what is happening here is a metaphoric rape. This alien is showing Ripley that it is stronger than her entire race. It will dominate her physically, and it'll dominate her men sexually. If this still seems implausible, I would reference the work of artist H.R. Giger, who created the image of the xenomorph alien, which we now know from this series of films. As mentioned, James Cameron has made great sequels because he understands the subtext of the original material, and he builds on that information. The artwork of H.R. Giger is immediately recognizable as the inspiration for the production design in the Alien franchise, but it also has extremely sexual qualities, often depicting fetish-like imagery and sadomasochistic ideas. Cameron was without a doubt aware of these themes at the core of the Alien design, just as he took note of the subtle gender ideas within the first film, and I believe that this one scene is the culmination of those ideas. The alien queen is showing herself as not just a master predator, but as a more powerful woman, and that gives even more weight to the following confrontation and the timeless line,
Get away from her, you bitch!